Jurassic Park.
It was far beyond anything that I imagined was possible.
Something happens which is way beyond my ability.
Jurassic Park opened to a record box office.
Jurassic will be the biggest picture of all time.
Jurassic Park will show you dinosaurs as you've never seen them before.
But at the same time, there's something about them.
Spielberg is more successful. His films make much more money.
And the reviews are sharply mixed.
The movie disintegrates basically into a monster picture.
Sequel after sequel.
It's a moral dilemma.
It is 1994, and the first episode of a medical TV drama titled ER has just premiered on American television. A major feat after the series' screenplay was abandoned for nearly 2 straight decades. But that could have been even longer if it wasn't for an absolute film buff from Ohio named Steven Spielberg.
But it was working with Steven Spielberg, and I just felt like I wanted to work with those guys.
Spielberg eventually got involved because he met with the writer of the screenplay, who turned out to wear the name Michael Crichton, as Spielberg had an interest in one of his novels called Jurassic Park.
Michael Crichton, I think, came up with the secret sauce because I love the idea of DNA and dinosaurs.
And certainly as a metaphor for the growing power of biotechnology.
Scientists have taken the DNA genetic material that in fact is being found in some fossils and somehow managed to convolute it into living, breathing beings today.
And sometimes animals that went extinct millions of years ago, like dinosaurs, and just like today, there were mosquitoes. After biting a dinosaur, the mosquito would land on the branch of a tree and get stuck in the sap. After a long time, the tree sap would get hard, which we call amber, and become fossilized, preserving the mosquito inside.
Trapped in amber
lies the recipe to the mightiest creatures ever to walk the earth.
And you extract the DNA
through the power of genetics.
Can we not bring back the T-Rex?
With a credible way to bring the dinosaurs back to Earth, Spielberg was still facing another major issue.
I look at King Kong and I say, well, that is the state of the art. In between 1933 and today, there have not been any real advancements in special effects photography. If it didn't look as real as a camera can photograph an elephant as though I were watching a National Geographic special on television, then I didn't want to do it.
At this stage, the plan called for all wide shots to be done with Phil Tippett's Go Motion technique, a modern extension of traditional stop-motion animation.
Tippett had perfected the motion blur, but it wasn't 100%. It was still jerky. I come home with my kids and look at this stuff over and over and over again. And my kids bought it. They said, wow, Dad, a real dinosaur. But there was still something a bit go-motion-y about it. And that's when Dennis Muren came to me with this idea to show me a test.
So we sort of began a little experimenting to see how far the computer technology had taken us.
But I'll never forget the time that Dennis brought the first test down. I've never seen movements this smooth.
It was clear that Phil Tippett's Go Motion dinosaurs could be replaced by this breakthrough computer technology.
And I turned to Phil, and Phil looked at me, and Phil said, he said, I think I'm extinct. And I actually used Phil's line in the movie.
We're out of a job.
Don't you mean extinct?
On to your butts.
Hello and welcome to London's Leicester Square for the royal premiere of Steven Spielberg's 1993 blockbuster movie Jurassic Park.
65 million years in the making, Jurassic Park will show you dinosaurs as you've never seen them before.
The hottest ticket in the Bay Area, Jurassic Park, has arrived.
The eagerly awaited film was greeted by long lines at special sneak previews.
Many of the people getting into Jurassic Park were able to because they bought tickets in advance.
I have my ticket and I paid cash American dollars for it. Some people now seeing the movie already have tickets to see it again.
We got here about 11 o'clock this morning.
11 this morning for what show?
The 10:45 tomorrow morning.
But they were able to get such a visceral, immediate response. I mean, it didn't say this is an effect. It was like, bam.
The thrill almost never stopped. It was amazing.
It was fantastic. It was so scary.
It really was the most exciting film I've ever seen.
It's the best picture I've seen in about the last 10 years.
I was expecting a little child's movie. It was a horror film.
Some children may not like what they see.
In my opinion, Jurassic Park is too intense for children under the age of, say, 10. I've heard of parents taking their kids out of the theaters over this opening week.
I think there are scenes in this movie that are very intense. Now, it's being aimed at kids. I mean, it's being promoted through dino meals at McDonald's, and a lot of kids are going to want to see this movie.
You are going to see an avalanche of toys and trinkets and games, all sorts of goodies to buy now and cart to the basement later.
The Universal Studios picture could generate as much as $50 million in box office business this weekend.
It's already taken a staggering $200 million in just over 4 weeks in the United States.
This movie is knocking them dead at the box office. But then again, June 11th was a lucky day for Universal and Steven Spielberg.
I was nuts about dinosaurs when I was a kid. I think it was the first time I ever learned, I think my third or fourth word was, Triceratops.
Jurassic Park is a childhood fantasy made real, but someone forgot to tell the dinosaurs a very good night.
Having created a cultural revolution and an overheated box office turned into a commercial hit, Universal Studios were now facing a great dilemma. What to do after such a groundbreaking movie?
If there is to be a sequel, would you like to be in it?
Yeah, but particularly if Steven's directing it.
First of all, is there a sequel coming out of this?
Nobody knows. We've got so many letters from kids saying, what about the sequel?
But sequel material rapidly became public.
His latest book is The Lost World. I am pleased to have Michael Crichton back at this table. What caused you to write one more time?
You know, it was really something that came from readers. Kids began to read it, and they would send letters, what about the sequel?
But making a sequel does have its flaws, and Spielberg knew it.
So you have to immediately, when you make a sequel, take out one of the greatest reasons that people came to see the movie initially, was that it was about something that they had never seen in any other film. And when you make a sequel, already the audience knows about the magic, and you need a story to draw them for the second time around. I was developing the script with David Koepp, and I called David and I said, we can't make another one of these movies unless I just somehow find a way to bring the T-Rex back to America. Let's bring the T-Rex to San Diego.
Dinosaur movies are a genre into themselves, and you really have to know the classics.
Steven Spielberg's heart-pounding sequel was inspired by a classic 1925 silent movie, The Lost World.
Starring Jeff Goldblum, Julianne Moore, and newcomer Vince Vaughn, yes, it's the sexiest sequel in the West. Steven Spielberg's $70 million baby.
I had always sort of wanted to do a sequel to Jurassic Park because I thought that both by popular demand and also because I just had such a great time making the first film. You kind of had that little touch of nostalgia. In a way, it almost makes you miss the first movie while you're watching the second one. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was very successful.
With a commercially successful sequel, Spielberg was quickly shifting his focus to other projects. Until one day, he sat down with a reporter to go through a relatively normal interview. Until the reporter came with a very specific question. Will there be a third Jurassic Park? Spielberg replied, "It would give me a tremendous headache just to think about it."
The name is one thing and who I am is something totally different.
Spielberg had enough of dinosaurs, and there was one man who took advantage of Spielberg's desire.
I would like to get out of the floor.
Robin Williams, Jumanji.
I just had a wonderful time working with Robin Williams.
Came to Steven and said, if you ever consider doing a second Jurassic, could I do it? And Steven said, Joe, I think I'm going to do the second one, but if I do a third, you're my first choice.
He basically, Steven said, go make the movie you want to make.
Sam Neill is back from the first one.
So what was the reason for not doing the sequel for you?
The reason I didn't do number 2 was that Michael Crichton didn't write me into the sequel. You always think, number 3, do we want to do it again? But everyone told me, and they were completely right, that this would be up with the first one, so I was happy to be back.
This will stand on its own.
I think it's going to be the kind of movie that it needs to be.
We've nailed it. I say we've nailed it.
And it's bigger and better.
Lasers?
What kind of lasers?
I don't know. I'm not a freaking stormtrooper.
I had seen Safety Not Guaranteed, and I felt that the very last scene of Safety Not Guaranteed was what convinced me that Colin was the right person to direct Jurassic World.
We cage animals, we view them in zoos, we use them for agriculture, we use them in weaponry for war.
My adventure with Jurassic Park started when I saw the first Jurassic Park in the theaters in 1993. And I loved it. It just was mind-blowing to me. I was 14 years old.
I saw the movie when I was 12 years old, in the theaters, opening weekend.
We all have a very emotional connection with those movies. We saw them when we were kids and when we were very young.
You know, you're responsible for ushering a whole new generation of kids into the theater to see this movie and to fall in love with this franchise. Don't do a good job telling this story or tell a story that's worthy of the franchise, they're going to be up in your face about it.
Be respectful to the longtime fans of the franchise, you know.
Pick up their footprints, right? So you just move right in, right when he's done talking to you there.
We worked our asses off. It was about 85 shoot days, not to mention a year or more of prep and another year of post. We've been working very, very hard to bring this movie to an audience.
And the movie, you must have really worked on your scared face.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. That's all you had in the whole movie was, oh, jeez. You know? Oh, jeez.
Your safety is our main concern.
Did you guys ever think about bringing any of the other cast members from the original trilogy back? Was Sam Neill ever a possibility or anything like that?
No, not really.
I have never made so much noise in a film.
Whoa! No! Whoa!
It's
all the way
unbelievable.
It's okay. I'm back to me, my work. Yeah, I'm living the Alan Grant life.
I saw our beloved Sam Neill with Dr. Alan Grant's hat on, and I turned to my right, and here comes Jeff in Dr. Ian Malcolm's black leather jacket.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way. Life finds a way. Yeah, that's kind of kept around. People have enjoyed that.
Remember Colin saying it hit him that our characters were there all together again and that he got moved.
After their reunification in Jurassic World Dominion, Jurassic Park now has 5 sequels, and especially the last 3 sequels have commercially been very lucrative. But being so lucrative doesn't mean it goes without its general issues.
We all believe that the first one is one of the great movies ever made. So you had an enormous bar that you had to make sure that you reached.
And trying to reach that bar was maybe a doomed task, because
their interest in the park has waned because, you know, dinosaurs have been around for 20 years. They're not that cool anymore.
Part of that coolness was also that CGI was basically still in its diapers, just like some of the audience members that make up the large Jurassic Park fan base of today, that largely contributes to such box office numbers, always eager for a good bit of nostalgia and scientifically credible dinosaurs, despite having critically more in common with an avocado running out of its expiration dates. And as Jurassic World Rebirth is coming out soon, who knows what might happen as the franchise looks to move in a different direction.
None of what you just said is good.